What's up, everyone? Welcome to ClearTalk. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about the No Kings protests on Saturday that happened nationwide and were quite impressive. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you are new here, welcome. If you are coming back, you are freaking awesome and glad that you are here. Anything you need to know about me is on the screen. So, this is YouTube. You know what to do. Do the damn thing, and let's go. Um, so, the No Kings protest Saturday, which is the protests that were basically people in solidarity over um, authoritarian like tendencies that this regime has been doing around immigration, around uh, uh, you know our federal employee firings and uh, uh, destroying, government agencies, all the stuff that, getting into Social Security Act, all the things that they are trying to cancel and eliminate, our ongoings in foreign wars that are just getting worse. I mean, just all these things that is going on. And in hindsight of the military parade and stuff, it was just a whole culmination of things that going on that has steadily increased the need and feel and the activism around protesting against this administration and the things going on. And the No Kings was just a continuation of what's been going on for months as far as protests are concerned. I last myself went to a protest back in May in my local area in Jackson, Mississippi, and that was my first time ever being a part of a protest like that, and it was amazing time. Then we had roughly around 400, somewhere between 400 and 500 people. Uh, Reports are that Saturday Jackson had over 1,500 people, which is, I mean, amazing for Jackson, Mississippi, if I'm being honest. Would I've liked to have seen more? Yeah, but I mean, 1,500 was still, or it said over 1,500, is still pretty impressive. But the No Kings protest was nationwide, bigger than nationwide. I mean, there was international solidarity as well, from London to Toronto to Berlin to Mexico City. There were locations. We went over this in a previous video. You can check that out. Where there was locations in like one in Australia, in the Philippines, in South America, and South Africa, or not South Africa, but in the southern part of Africa. Um, it was. I mean, there were plans, protests in solidarity with the United States for No Kings. Um, for Saturday, yeah, I mean, internationally, worldwide, and it was just great to see over 2,000 events across the United States alone. There were estimated now over 5 million participants, which is crazy, and puts it at potentially the largest protest ever in U.S. history, which is amazing as well. In New York alone, there was 50,000. In Philadelphia, where it was pretty much the headquarters, had the largest crowd at somewhere between 80 and 100,000. And then there's all the major cities all over the place. They were just thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people coming out in solidarity for this movement, and it was great to see. Great to see all these numbers and stuff. In Boston, there was even a blending with pride rallies and stuff that were going on there. I mean, it's just a great time. There were what we'll do is we'll go into some images here. So let me pop up here. This is from AP. This was in L.A. So you got loads of people here, all kinds of signs. We are all immigrants. L.A. ICE. I can't completely read that one out. I prefer my ice crushed. Morons are governing America. MAGA. Fuck ICE. Stop terrorism. Terrorizing our community. Stay quiet is not an option. I mean, fascism, hard fascism. Fuck ICE some more. Of course, the big baby orange Trump there. So this is in LA. This right here, I think it was in Philadelphia. Yeah, this is in Philadelphia, which included Andrew Waters King and Martin Luther King III right here. That was pretty cool. Like I said, Philadelphia was the central hub for the No Kings protests and stuff, which was moved from Washington, D.C. because our president had already kind of put out a threat that if there were any protest against the military parade, that protesters would be met with force, which put some concerns into the protest organizers and stuff. So they warned and suggested move their headquarters or the main hub for these protests to Philadelphia. Urged people that were in the Washington D.C. area to go to either Philadelphia or other locations throughout Maryland or Virginia or whatever, wherever they could get, but to try to resist against actually going. Although there were small little groups in Washington that were not affiliated with the No Kings organizers and protest, but they were still some that actually happened in Washington, D.C. that were planned. So, yeah. Here's some tear gas surrounds law enforcement officers on horseback in L.A. This right here is probably the most impressive picture that I saw. This is in California on Ocean Beach, and it was a human banner that was created out there. It says "No Kings" with the American flag being held upside down. This is amazing, and to me, seemed more coordinated and put together than even the military parade. There's another image on from straight up on top, looking down on another on CNN's that we'll get to here shortly. But that just was an amazing picture to me. I thought that was quite literally the best picture that I come across. The took on the most. Young protester here, combination Mexican and U.S. flag. In Los Angeles, a lot of the pictures from AP are from Los Angeles and Portland, Oregon, and San Francisco, stuff like that. Here's one from Chicago. Enough is enough. No Kings. Here is a U.S. Customs Border Protection agent detaining a man outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs building in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon did see a lot of aggression. We remember this even back in the BLM. Apparently, Portland, Oregon has some crazy guys up there, or people up there, some bad actors up there that like to. I don't know the backstory of this. I don't know what this person may have done. I mean, you've got an alcohol bottle here in a bag. Could have been potentially going to do a firebomb or something like that. That's if he was doing something violent, then sure, there's no problem with him being arrested or something. But I don't know the backstory here. Demonstrators on Hawthorne Bridge in Portland, Oregon. Is that? This is a lady climbing over a fence to escape a police kettle in Los Angeles. Not really sure behind on that either. Here's in Atlanta. It's a beautiful day to melt some ice. You don't get to talk about what's illegal when you voted for a felon. Defund ICE, defund hate. Liberty and justice for all. Here is some standoff against law enforcement, horseback on Los Angeles. Here's a guy gets treatment for tear gas from Portland, Oregon. Someone kicking a canister of tear gas in Los Angeles. It's quite crazy. Lola Hottinson. So I guess she was okay with her name being put out there. Lady Liberty in San Francisco. Pretty cool. Here is a residence in Lewis County in New York. Is a traditionally Republican stronghold, but you know, even in what you consider maybe a strong right-leaning, defender of what's going on or whatever area, you still have dissent. Here is a law enforcement officer points a taser at a person wearing a hot dog costume in Portland, Oregon. Again, I don't know what's behind this, what's going on, and clearly you see a lot of mess here. I don't know. This guy's got his hands, behind him inside the suit. To what degree he was violent or posed a threat, I don't know. Maybe this guy just doesn't really like hot dogs. I have no clue. Maybe he has nightmares of them. I don't know. Maybe he will from now on. I don't know. We have Grand Central Market here in Los Angeles. Love Americans, hate tiny hand dictators. New York police officers escort a protester after making an arrest during protest outside the federal building. Not sure the content behind that either. We can't know any of the details really behind these. ICE and Border Patrol grab a protester outside of Homeland Security in Tukwila. I'm not the Seattle, so I guess this is around Seattle, Washington. Maybe, I don't know. Not sure what's going on here. These people seem quite protected up. I don't know if they knew that there was going to be a potential backlash, or if they were intending on doing some less than peaceful things. I have no clue. I don't know what's going on behind this, but yeah. Philadelphia, we the people, liberty. I think this is in Philadelphia as well. Yeah, a protester confronted by a police officer. Not sure the content behind that either. Yeah. Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia. That's a pretty impressive image there. Pretty awesome. Here we have Louisville, Kentucky, Metro Mall, demonstrators waving a flag. All the people out here. And then here, I think this is the last one on this one, San Francisco, towards City Hall, marching towards City Hall. All the people here. And we swap over to CNN for some more. We got people here. This is, I think, in Chicago. The White House wasn't meant to be literal ICE out of Chicago. The White House wasn't meant to be literal. A clown for the clown. A crown for the clown. No kings. I choose compassion. I guess compassion over anger, patience over panic, conscious response over... That one's hard to read. I don't know what that one says. If Jesus returned, Trump would deport him. It's a good chance. Very good chance. No one is illegal on stolen land. Demonstrators here react to tear gas in Los Angeles. This is the photo. So this is an overlook of the No Kings No king photo. And here the flag was turned right side up. So I don't know if that was adjusted or they were maybe rotating with it. Who knows? It could have been that they were actually rotating with it in pictures. One picture took it from one side, one picture, I don't know. Who knows? Or maybe the initial picture that we saw in the other one was them setting up. But still, they did a good job of organizing. You can see they had everything lined up. It looks like maybe drawing in the sand. Somebody drew out and then to give like a line for everybody to line up in. But great job here. Impressive photo. Thank you, Army. Shame on Trump. This is in Washington, D.C. Person holds a sign up outside outskirts of the parade. Buffalo, New York. And protests are holding up. Empathy wins. Here's outside of Atlanta. This is the same picture from a minute ago. Here, woman in Los Angeles. Gestures at mounted police during a disperse of protesters. Here in Chicago, guy does thumbs down in front of a Trump International Hotel. We the people are pissed off. Yeah, seems to be. Organizer leads demonstrations in a chant in Philadelphia. Is Yogi the Bear? Only you can prevent fascist liars. Clever. Democracy lies in. Not sure what that says. Silence? I don't know. I serve for freedom, not fascism. Here we go. Class clown. Colorado Capitol State portrait of Donald Trump. Colorado State Capitol portrait. I wouldn't expect Colorado State Capitol to have nothing more pathetic than deporting Americans. Oakland, California. Los Angeles. Outside of this is bubbles float past U.S. Marines stationed outside of the federal building in Los Angeles. Child waves a flag as protesters gather in Brooklyn. This is Palm Beach, Florida, near Trump Mar-a-Lago residence. This is in Los Angeles. Anchorage, Alaska. Quite a different one. Democracy, not fascism. Thou shalt not mess with women's protective rights. Person detained in Chicago. Kind of an odd photo. Demonstrators display signs on overpass in Virginia. Army stopping kings since 1775. Thanks for nothing. Crappy B-Day a-hole. Ice out of LA. So I have a demonstrator wearing indigenous attire. She appears to be somewhat indigenous herself. Maybe. I don't. That's a pointless photo. Philly bows to nobody. In Philadelphia. All tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Here's in Atlanta, Liberty Plaza. North Carolina. No one is illegal on stolen land. Here's a picture. This was kind of random. I don't know if this was literally placed somewhere in Philadelphia Uh, I'm not completely sure. It's stating that 100 million for Trump's parade. The estimates were around 25 to 40 something million. I'm not sure where the 100 million is. I mean, it's possible. But I don't know. Either way, it's stating cost of Trump's birthday parade for a king or a year of health care for 7,000 veterans. They got caps from all the different military. You know, it's making a good point. I'm not sure if Trump's parade really was, ultimately uh, actually cost 100 million, or if the idea is that it will, potentially, once it's all over, cost 100 million. Not sure. Between like cleanup and any kind of repairs, the damage that was done by anything, it could potentially hit close to that. Who knows? Here is Detroit. No fucking way. Fucking way. Indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Yep. Democracy. This is in Jackson, Wyoming. Wyoming. The state of not much. No one is illegal on stolen land. Guy giving a thumbs up as he drives through. Here's an overlook at that Hawthorne Bridge in Portland, Oregon. This one is that's kind of weird. Man dressed as Elvis Presley. No Kings protest. I guess I kind of get that. Cincinnati, Ohio. This one's interesting. I wonder if my daughter participated in this at all. I don't know if she was working or not. That's pretty cool. Port Washington, New York. Asheville. Not sure where Asheville is. Good many people there. Rally in Atlanta. Not sure where they are. Under a bridge pass, I guess. Going down some road. This is a really cool photo. This is in Vermont, Bennington County, Vermont. We the people. Pretty cool. Well, like they're on a kind of soccer field or something. Here are no Kings protests waiting on Boston Pride Parade on Saturday. That's kind of the mixture there. The Pride Parade going on with protesters and joining in on that as well. Largo, Florida. So even in Florida, pro-American, anti-Trump, peaceful protests is never insurrection. Stop the Gestapo police. Fire Musk. Watch. I guess he's already kind of fired. So, end imperialism. No kings in America. Trump is fraud, waste, abuse. 134 million for Marines in Atlanta. I mean LA. 45 million for parade. Yep. That sounds like fraud and abuse. Where are the gators on the golf course when you need them? I don't know. That's no human is illegal. D is for democracy. No kings. Cool. This is in Philadelphia. Here's that another same photo from New York. That says Lowville, New York. Well, since Louis County. Okay. This was in L.A. Protesters in downtown L.A. carrying a banner representing the preamble to the U.S. Constitution. This was pretty cool. Impressive photo. A protester waves a flag during the demonstrations in Houston. This is in Houston. Here is police officers in standby as people start to march in New York City. May seem chill for the most part. We are the voice of the undocumented. Here's in Chicago. Dump your MAGA boyfriend. That one's kind of odd, but whatever. Here's somebody boarding up a restaurant in L.A. embracing for the whatever. Um, gather People gather in Tallahassee, Florida. Anne Frank wrote about this in her diary. So yeah, there's some photos. Pretty, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like I said, the one that really just I just love the most was this one. I think that's just highly impressive. I mean, think about it. You know, you having the parade, and I mean, going on one coast, and this was on the opposing coast. No king. Uh, that's just, think of the imagery and the idea behind that. Whoever put this together was just this is fantastic. This is an amazing photo to me. Highly impressive, and yeah, I think that's really really cool. But that's pretty much the breakdown. Over 5 million. Some estimates upwards is 10 to 12 million, but the like solid number estimate is over 5 million. And like I said, that alone puts it at pretty much the largest protest in American history. Uh, and like I said, it's all due to the actions that this administration has been doing since they got into office. The unrest across the entire country about everything that's been going on, from ICE and immigration, and just the horrific stories we've had on that come out. What's started all the stuff in LA and is just growing over this week. It was just the tensions and the this unrest growing all throughout the week, ending in what happened Saturday with a what appears to be quite an underwhelming parade, but a highly impressive protest uh, against this regime that's just uh, causing nothing but division and chaos across our country, and not only our country, but even with other countries, allies, um, and causing uh, you know potential for out uh, growing tensions in the Middle East, which is just now going off the, I mean, just going crazy. Uh, all of these different things. I said that's the reason why the parade just seemed way out of touch, and this meets the moment. This meets the moment more um, than the parade ever could. So, thank you very much, and until next time, let me know what's in the comments what you thought of Saturday, the King stuff. Yes, there were, some things that did go down. There was some incidents. Some people were ran over by cars. There were some minor injuries there in like Virginia, I think, and maybe in Texas or something. You did have um, a a person in Salt Lake City who was shot and unfortunately died because a uh, armed man appeared and started to aim at protesters, and a peacemaker, basically like I guess I'm assuming like a uh, either law enforcement or something like that, shot at the was sh- shot at the person to whatever maim them or get whatever the case. I don't know what extent, but a in the midst of that, a bystander got shot, and they were initially in critical condition, but ultimately passed away from the gunshot. And then, of course, you had the big one, which is a what appears to, in all reporting be a Trump supporting, um, strong Trump supporter who wind up shooting two lawmakers in Minnesota. Not completely. I'm not sure that was still under investigation, and not completely sure it's necessarily tied to the events of Saturday. It just coincided with it. But the person has been found, and at his, like, right around his actual, I think, local uh, address residence. So that's I'm gonna try to probably come work up a video on that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that today or wait till tomorrow when more evidence and stuff comes out. Uh, but yeah, so those kinds of things did happen. Unfortunately, there was some tussle with protesters and, law enforcement, uh, trying to do crowd control measures and stuff. Of course, some rioting and stuff happened in certain areas like LA, Portland, which is for some reason always a little crazy. I mean, but overall, like I said, overall majority, well over 90 something percent, of the protests were peaceful and went off perfectly fine, making the impact that it did with over, like I said, over 5 million people in the U.S. alone. So it's just amazing, amazing to see. So thank you very much. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments about the everything. And till next time, peace. Clear Talk, I'm out.